I don't think crypto and blockchain and cryptocurrencies were invented for people to make money. And I always think that the speculation that goes around crypto is not a good thing long term. But the PayPal has nothing to do with speculation. PayPal is actually for creating value. It's like you have to, the product has to, the Ethereum blockchain, the Cardano blockchain doesn't exist for itself. It exists for making some products that will create some efficiency, that will, will optimize things, and therefore it will be some ROI. I don't know if people even remember what it is, which means return of investments. It means they will make things more efficient, right? Speculation doesn't make things more efficient.
Imagine trading without fees. Well, stop imagining, because today we've got the man who's created it, made it possible, from Quantfury, Lev Mazur. Lev, thanks for being on the show today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Pleasure's all mine.
Lev, we speak so often, and I really appreciate all of our banter we have all the time. But you know what? I think if I remember right, you said you started sort of the trading and being in the trading business since 1992, right?
Oh yeah, many years ago.
So tell me what that was like then compared to now.
Back then there was no crypto, so there was stocks or options, obviously there was fixed income products or forex. I actually started trading with forex pairs. Back then there was no euro, it was Deutschmark. USD Deutschmark was the main pair, and there was like a USD, great pound cable, whatever the name is. It's like a nickname. And so you had to rely on the central bank data, inflation data, consumer index data. There was more. I think there was more fundamental economic data behind the price movements, and it was also less people involved, so you tend to know people. Every bank, every financial institutions, we used to have those terminals, and we used to have this chat, and you would actually be able to chat and transact. It sounds a little bit stupid, but it was very effective. You could kind of see where the market goes, where the market's mood is, and it was very kind of lucrative. That's I would say today it's much way less lucrative and way more simplified, although I don't think fundamentally it should be simplified. And I still think, by the way, it should be way more lucrative than today, because everybody today thinks, I can do it. It's just a little bit not like that.
And do you think, it sounds to me there was probably maybe more hurdles back then, but what are the hurdles that you think people have today for trading?
No, I think the barrier to entry to trade today is just non-existent. Back then, you had way more barriers to work in financial institutions, professional financial institutions. I think you had to be I don't want to say I'm a smart guy, but you had to way more prepared, and you had to just look at the fundamentals, and you had to understand better things. You just couldn't walk and do things like you do today. As a matter of fact, there were no computers, there was no internet. You couldn't just press the button, register, sign up, and had online access to various financial instruments with charts, data, and so on. Now, some people would say, well, it was more privileged. I don't think so. But that's just another discussion. So today you have very small amount of barriers to entry and start trading. Is it good or bad? It's another discussion. But back then, if you wanted to be a trader, if you wanted to speculate in financial markets, just to find a platform to do that professionally easy as it today, today is I would say it's 100,000 times easier today than it was back then. You really had to work in a bank or a mutual fund and just get access to some you call it terminal to do all of those things. Today, just anybody can do it. Yeah.
Do you think that affects the market differently than how it was before?
Well, definitely, because it's a chain reaction, right? So it's like Amazon being this big company, but anybody can do now, can trade on Amazon. And so you, technically speaking, now you can compete with various stores out there that exist like for many, many years. Something social media, somebody just want to be designer of his own, I don't know, jeans. So he's like, okay, I can do it. So yes, and so it touches everybody because it's way more access of the information. So the demand for professional hedge fund managers is different. So it's kind of like a simplifying the field. So there's a lot of good things in simplifying it. There's a lot of bad things. I tend to see, bad things because I like to solve problems. But there's a bunch of good things. There's all of those guys who make millions of dollars driving Lamborghinis. They're happy.
So tell me a little bit and share with the guests a little bit about Quantfury, because Quantfury is your baby today, right? This is the platform, your idea, and you came up with. So tell me a little bit about this.
Well, I mean, Quantfury, yeah, I'm founder of Quantfury. I'm not an officer of the company, but I tend to work with the company. And Quantfury, within the company, Quantfury is a platform it's a global platform which is oriented to global user base outside of the United States and Canada. It delivers unmatched trading and investing conditions by letting people to trade at existing prices of assets of existing global and crypto exchanges. So basically, people trade and buy, sell Apple, or whatever they want to do, or Binance, or Bitcoin pair, BTC USDT pair, or natural gas futures at their price, whatever the buy and sell prices are, that are quoted and traded at relevant exchanges. So whatever it's Apple, it'd be an NYC, New York Stock Exchange. If it's a BTC USDT, it would be Bitcoin. So it would be Binance feed. It would be natural gas. It will be, NYMEX exchange, and with no fees and no commissions whatsoever. No overnight fees, anything like that just doesn't exist. So it's the most cost-effective platform to trade. And so people tend to lose, of course, less money because they have no commission fees and the prices are not manipulated to the degree they're just as they are in those global and crypto exchanges. But it doesn't make you a great trader, obviously, but it just gives you some advantage. Yeah.
So really, it's a full trading platform, not just for crypto assets or crypto trading. It's stocks and bonds, ETFs, et cetera, that you're able to trade on it.
It's about 650 plus assets and different types of them, as you mentioned, ETFs, stocks, futures. I would say, yeah, well, of course, crypto, Forex as well. It's not that popular anymore, but we still have Forex pairs. Yeah.
Interesting. And how does the blockchain element come into place? Because it's a big element for the platform, right?
Well, yeah, but again, Quantfury is not a cryptocurrency company, right? So we use blockchain and cryptocurrencies, I would say, to be way better accessible to our user base and also compete and be more transparent. So our users, Quantfury users, they trade at a nominal value of those assets. So if it's an Apple stock, they'll be trading it in USD dollars because it's traded in USD dollars. If it would be Lufthansa stock traded in Germany, EU, so it will be in euro. If it's a BTC USD pair, it's obviously be in USD, but the position will be in Bitcoin. However, the account balances that the users can maintain and use for their profit and loss can be, well, they are actually in 10 cryptocurrencies of their choice. So person can fund their account in USDT or Bitcoin, and then that account balance wallet that they got in a very nice company called COINPAYMENTS. That's what we use for our users accounts. So that account serves as a settlement account for their operations in the market, and against that account balance, they get USD trading power. So in that trading power, they allocate their positions. They can buy Apple stock for 2 shares for $200 or whatever the stock, or like they can go long for BTC USDT pair or short Ethereum USDT pair at the Binance price, spot price, whatever it is in real time. So that's one element. So people now saying, oh, look, I'm not really dependent on fiat. I can just send USDT, send Bitcoin, and they can switch between the cryptocurrency. So let's say if the account balance is USDT, they can transfer it into Bitcoin and exchanges to the Bitcoin. And
Right.
obviously they withdraw also money in crypto. That makes our platform much more accessible, easier to fund, easier to withdraw, because we avoid those existing financial institutions. We do have a full AML KYC, but that's just a one part of the cryptocurrencies. Another part of cryptocurrencies, we use blockchain to almost validate and guarantee the conditions Quantfury users, Quantfurians get, which is zero fees, zero commissions, and also real-time existing prices of global and crypto exchanges. So every transaction, that every trade being made on Quantfury platform, anonymously being stored on the blockchain, and that blockchain smart contract stores all of that data, so everybody can go and check if their trades were registered, and then to see the same time when people were trading, were they getting the same prices. And this is because you know, a lot of platforms out there manipulate buy and sell price, especially on the stock market, you know, like, because they can, you know, only United States government, as Security Exchange Commission, SEC rules, forbids platforms to manipulate the buy and sell prices. Most of the platforms globally, they expand buy and sell prices, make it bigger spread, and make people lose more money, because, you know, people lose that spread. So in the Quantfury case, we validate, we use blockchain, not be able to be an evil. Like we just, even if we want to, through the blockchain smart contract, people will see we're manipulating, which we're not. What we do is that we have our own token that lets people to get some of that spread revenue. So Quantfury owns about 95% of the tokens, but the 5% of those tokens are traded at you know, Bitfinex exchange. So our user base can, or non-user base investors, can get some of those spread revenues. So not only we don't manipulate the buy and sell prices, we let people to get some of that spread revenues that Quantfury gets, and it's also transparent, and also users can get it as well. So we use that blockchain to share our business model, some of our business model, with our user base, and, you know, being more transparent. So if you look at other companies, maybe like eToro or Plus 500, you know, they're publicly traded company, but they manipulate the spreads. Their spread revenues, it's theirs. Nobody knows whatever the price they get at any given time. I mean, all of those tricks, all of those guys, what they do known for now for decades.
That's sort of the traditional financial world, right?
I mean, it's a tradition. It's kind of like, you know, it's like an ocean. There's different levels, right? Of the ocean, there's depths, and so those guys, they're just on the surface, you know, like churning and burning, like a fisherman, you know, which is like retail traders.
And your token is QTF, right? Is that's
token is a QTF token. I mean, I think it's about between, I mean, it's between $700–800 million valuation, which makes sense, because Quantfury gets about $80–70 million in spread revenues, and we just share those. It's a kind of a, it's a DeFi. As a matter of fact, exists 3 years. We just made it public. It was held by private investors. We made it public like 6 months ago. And you know, as platform grows, as more trades are being generated, more spread revenues being generated, more the investors can get return of it. And that's just one of the things that QTF token does. Maybe in the future we'll do a few more.
Over the last couple of years, I've sort of seen the tremendous growth. That I would say you're probably one of the fastest growing trading platforms that I've seen anyways. Where do you think the biggest traction is?
I mean, like a regional?
Yeah, like which market do you see the biggest traction?
Yeah, I mean, well, historically, Quantfury is very popular in Spanish-speaking markets. Would be like Argentina, Colombia, Mexico, Spain. I think that's just where the base of, I would say, like more close to maybe half of the user base is there in those countries, Central Latin America and Spain. Today, I think it's kind of a evenly spread. You know, the company growing everywhere. You know, so 1 month would be Turkey, 1 month would be Russia, some 1 month would be like like a Czechoslovakia, 1 month it would be Chile. It's really growing evenly in all of those regions. Quantfury is not like active in Asia, so that's maybe in the future, but it's everywhere now.
I see a tremendous, in our business, we're seeing a tremendous growth in Brazil, obviously we're hearing a lot of news about the tremendous growth in Africa and sort of developing markets and stuff. Do you have an eye on any of these markets?
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say Africa, yes. Brazil, no, because I kind of like historically, although Portuguese and Spanish, it's supposed to be very close, and a lot of our company people speaking Spanish. We never could, kind of penetrate that market, and it's
Mm,
huge. Maybe the reason is that there's some sad story about the exchange, and that went just bust, and everybody, I don't know, whatever happened there. Uh, could be Binance is very active there, we know, but then opposite to Africa, actually, we see a lot of tractions like countries like Nigeria, South Africa. As retail traders, like I kind of think I know this. There's a various groups in them, right? But somebody told me, and at no means I don't want to move to this COVID-19 type of discussion, but I listened to some lectures saying there's more infectious diseases happening, there's more chances to corruption and dictatorship and bureaucracy or regulations. So like countries like, I don't know, I guess in North Korea we got a lot of infectious diseases. So
right.
there's more retail traders coming from certain area region. I would say that that would say that there was like there's some economical events, like the country goes from some economical turmoil or not, but there's some instability happens, right? And then we can see that, and we can see that. It's
I
not
also
just
wonder if
people
it's
looking for new sources of revenues and new sources of making money.
makes sense. I also wonder if it's also about the change that we were talking about, the friction or the ability to get on to start a trading platform in these markets. It's now easier. There's not the limitations that they had, a few years back. So if somebody maybe they only have $100, just as an example, that $100 gives them the opportunity to actually invest and maybe improve their lives. So I think some of these markets, these frictions that used to be there, allow more people more opportunities in these markets.
Yeah, especially if the government gives the money, right?
That's right.
I think that's what
And
we see, right? I mean, usually.
that's right. And you mentioned Binance. I think I saw recently that they've announced that they're going to not allow for linking stocks and things like that. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I mean, it's that a needle in the haystack. I think it's like one of the. My opinion is it's the right move, but there's a certain amount of layers to this idiocracy that is happening everywhere, right? So like they were. Um, I mean, it's a right move. It's a good move, but yeah, I mean, what stocks and Binance and some other platforms, what they're doing is that they're letting people to bet, buy and sell. The same thing what they do in the futures derivatives. So they allow people to bet, if it goes up or down. It really has nothing to do with the real price, which is being traded on Nasdaq, for example.
Right.
But they're saying one of the cool things that they were saying, cool, is like, oh, we can like now see what's over Saturday and Sunday, what's going to happen, because stock is not traded and we will virtually trade it. It's a synthetic trading between
I see.
buyers and
More of a
sellers.
bet.
So first, I don't think it made that much sense, because if the people want to really trade it, they really want to have the market print of prices that's happening where the liquidity is and where the pretty stock is being traded. The Apple stock is $180, not just because some people want to buy it, invest and get dividends, everything possible in Quantfury platform. Not just speculate. Speculation is a very small part of the asset market value, and actually, that's what you could see today. That people think, no, the speculation is like a video game. We'll trade it, we'll video game it, and the price will be whatever it will be. No, it's not. But it takes some time for people to realize that, and to market to realize that. So yeah, it's a right move, but I think it didn't make sense to them. It didn't have a volume, obviously.
Yeah.
It's just gambling, like most of the things that those exchanges do. It's gambling, right? It's
Right.
nothing to do with real market.
And recently, I think you said that you don't support or have trading of things like Dogecoin, for example, on Quantfury.
Yeah, well, that is another step. Not just that. Like I was thinking the other day, we don't have a weed stocks. Like it would make people so much upset that we don't have a weed stocks. And I'm not against people smoking weed. I don't smoke weed, but people do. It just it just like I remember this company called Nikola, right, in the United States, and they supposedly invented those trucks, like electric trucks. It's just like a year-old story. Apparently, they didn't do it. They were just doing this presentation where down the hill they were pushing the truck, and it was not electric. It was gravitation power. It's a gravitation engine powered truck, apparently, of a natural gravitation force of our planet. Anyway, so but it was a scam. Like this is a scam. They're being sued. The guy is probably going indicted now, or was already indicted. So everybody could understand that. But the stock was going up and down, crazy, and we said no, we're not going to list it. Sorry, guys. Like we think it's bullshit. Even if it's a $52 billion market cap, and if it's like this and that, we think it's a scam. So we're very careful what we list because we want to protect the users, because we think it's a long game. It's a long-term game. It's not like we're trying not to churn and burn our users. Now, you asked Dogecoin. To me, it's a highly manipulative token, coin, without any fundamentals. Although just recently, I saw Buterin joining Dogecoin Foundation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, we should look at it. Like things change. It's not like we're not like a radical saying, oh my God, the Dogecoin. But just what we saw over the last bull run, I mean, I could kind of see that. I mean, with all my respect to Elon Musk, this thing was manipulated. So we just wanted to protect our user base, and we're very careful. There was an old rule when I was starting to work with like a mutual funds. You never touch, a stock which doesn't have a double digits, like basically below $10. Don't touch it, right?
Yeah.
So there's some rules like to it, like it's a volatility, it's a gambling, it's a very easy, it's liquidity thing. So when we look at the asset, we want to see, okay, liquidity, market cap, some product behind, community, and then that it cannot be easily manipulated, right? Like we all know cryptocurrencies are manipulated, but you don't have a one guy, like you don't have like, Binance who's saying, okay, Bitcoin will go up or down. And we saw that
Yeah.
it used to be like that, but this guy, got some issues with USA government, so he's a little bit out of the picture, right? So that's what we don't do, and we do, and yeah, we quite selective with the assets we list because of those reasons, and people sometimes are very not happy, but they're happy after that. Like after this
Right.
goes, the other way, they were like, oh, good.
So is your team or the team at Quantfury always looking at new products and new tokens and things like that, or new stocks that you're going to list, or how does
Yeah.
somebody
Well,
reach you to
well,
look at that?
Quantfury has 17, or I think 19 crypto pairs that represent 90% of trading volume globally on crypto, right? So like every day, Quantfury has like about $500 million volume of trading, and most of it is crypto. I would say 70% of it probably would be crypto because people like to trade crypto. And out of this, there's 20 pairs. All of those pairs: Ethereum, Bitcoin, DOT, Link, Bitcoin Cash, Tata, Uni, like all of those guys are there, and they represent 90% of the volume. The 10% of those other things, like those shit coins, they're not going to be there, right? But I don't think the traders who trade them, they're going to be there in 1 year. Obviously, there's going to be somebody in the comments of this podcast saying, oh, but like, it's all, I made a 1,000%. Yeah, he made it, right? But like, we know what happens to others. So I'm not concerned about this. I just, Quantfury, you want to be, I think it's very important who you are and who are the people using your product. In my opinion, it's like just in general, the world changing, and it become much more flat. And everybody who builds a company or builds a big company will be facing, this check test of ego, right? Like, are you going the other way? Are you going to be this, I build a great company, or I have a great user base that like this product, and the company really has nothing to do with it. The company is just maintaining it. So we have a certain principle, certain ethical stance. And if we even will not make, I don't know, extra $1 billion, what's wrong with $100 million a year or whatever, right? So like we have that attitude, and I think the long term that attitude will win because everybody sees the truth in the end, especially in today's world. And blockchain or not, everything is accessible, right?
Right. And how do you see regulations affecting the business? Like there's sort of regulations, different regulations all over the world, and in the markets that you're in, how do these regulations affect you?
Well, I think first of all, as of now, there's existing regulations in place, and there's some of the future regulations that we can speculate about. Then there's a lot of platforms that are regulated, a lot of platforms that are semi-regulated, and a lot of big platforms that have no clue about regulations, but they want to be regulated. It's like a Binance saying, I want to be regulated in 100 jurisdictions. Like, I want
Right.
to be proactive. Like, no. The first of all, it starts with, well, what do you do as a business? Where you operate? What are the rules of those jurisdictions, right? And what are the risks you want to take? And are you
Mhm.
doing something good or are you doing something bad?
Right.
Right? So in place, I personally believe regulations are good, and they can be argued. You can ask for some exemptions, but in general, regulations are good. Now, the question is, are the regulations protecting their own like players, right? Or regulations are protecting the end user? So if you ask me,
Good
like,
question.
regulations in the United States, I mean, I think they're terrific. People just don't get it, but it's just unbelievably how good they are, how well they protect retail traders and just investors, right? Regulations in Europe, they don't really protect anybody to the degree they let certain companies to do quite awful things, right? But like again, the people who know about regulations, I don't think they talk about it. So I know about regulation. We can talk to the depths to it. None of the platforms today that does derivatives, exchanges, they when they do those derivatives, if you ask about this stuff, because this is the most where the speculation is happening, they're not
Yeah.
regulated, and they will not be able to be regulated. They will have to violate some of the regulations some other countries. So the thing is, like, Leonard, they'll have to look at the mirror and say, okay, are we going to take chance? Like, I don't think anybody wants to take chance with the United States government. So if
Yeah.
one of those platforms served USA citizens or residents retroactively, not proactively, even if the proactively will be the best citizens they can be, they'll have to pay the price, and the price can be jail, right? So it's like, so if the regulations in place today already regulate crypto, because if you start doing derivatives, this is investment product, it's investment contract. This is not just exchange of the, see, like in this world today, not many people get what's going on, right? Like on various layers, like we spoke about, it's too much information. But uh, you if you sell some futures and you were active going backward, now as an exchange, you need to face the consequences. If
Right.
your users are from Nigeria, I don't think Nigeria Security Exchange Commission will extradite you from Hong Kong where you sit.
Yeah.
But like if it's a SEC, United States Government Department of Justice, well, you got to be that in that country we spoke about, like with a lot of infectious diseases, North Korea or whatever, right? Because they're not like that's where you have to be. So you have to pay for what you did. If today a new platform comes to fruition and they want to operate, there's a very clear set of regulations. A very not clear set of regulations with regards to the exchanges, crypto exchanges, right? Because a lot of those security exchange committees and security laws do not understand how we deal with crypto. Is it a commodity? Is it an investment contract?
Right.
Is it just is it a currency, right? So it's interesting. Like, just give an example. Forex itself is not considered, when you trade forex in the United States, it's not considered to be investment product. It's not regulated unless you go to the futures, right? But it's like if you just set up, it's a money license business, but it's like it's nothing, right? So is it Bitcoin going to be the same? Like, there's no regulations. Like it's just not regulated, but not
Right.
the derivatives part, the futures part, and that's where the most of the money goes. That's where the most of those guys active. It is regulated everywhere because it's an investment product. It's a it's a contract. It's an investment contract. It's regulated. And when the FTX, Binance's, and Huobi's and OKX's of the world saying, "Oh, well, there's no regulations about what we do," no, there is, and you're violating it every day. That's just another story.
Right. And where do you see like the impact from, say, the announcement with PayPal now going into the UK, the US, allowing people to buy and trade and sell their Bitcoin? Do you think this is going to improve and increase the amount of traders and people that are speculating, or like where do you think that might affect it?
I think actually not. So you see, there's a called thing like a physical exchange of goods. Like what does an exchange does? Exchange clears the transaction. That's all what they do. They don't trade against or for at their own exchange. They make sure that Jason and Lev, we exchange. You got the goods, I got the money. Everything's okay. They maybe charge you some fee, and they make the clearing. It's a clearing house. That's what it is.
Right.
So a lot of people want to have crypto, physical crypto. It has nothing to do with speculation. It's a great, and I wish all of those exchanges will enable that. So that would be like a spot trading, right? It's not nothing to do with speculation. You buy it, you hold it, cold wallet, and you do it, and you need it for whatever reason. You need it for maybe, investment, like you hold it like you hold something, or you want to pay using like a coin payment platform, right? So like just for the goods, right? Somebody accepts using coin payments and wallet selling something. So you go and buy it for. Why we want to do it from Bitcoin, we don't know. But like some countries, I don't know, Venezuela or Argentina, maybe that's just the only way to do it. And that's okay. That's what PayPal does. I think PayPal is agnostic. PayPal says, okay, let's do that. But it's very good, in my opinion, in general, because like, let's face it, the fiat system by itself regulating the opposite of innovation, right? Because it's so strict and it's so regulated, the fiat. Like, let's say if we look at the Apple Store, right? Like if me and you, we created some great app, and it's unbelievable, changing people's life, and we want to run it on iPhones, and for whatever reason, Apple Store says, you know what, we don't like it. Like that's it, we're screwed, right? And if we have something which is great, we want to sell it to the people, and whatever reason we cannot accept, fiat payments, and now like we cannot onboard somebody with a credit card from the United States. Like what do we do? So the crypto kind of breaks this barrier, and the PayPal is just an interface. So PayPal says, okay, look guys, there's a lot of business accepting PayPal. You can come with the crypto, and we support those businesses, and those businesses maybe will be more available to somebody, in those places that they cannot use PayPal. Now because they don't have a credit card or debit card to attach, but they do have a crypto. So it's all good. I think it just
I see it as an enabler, right? Yeah, so 100%. Just like other platforms that are around there, they've been really enabling people to access it. So having groups like the PayPals and or other groups enabling people to actually acquire it, hold it, receive it, I think it's beneficial. And we see a great value with more people having crypto. Therefore, they're going to spend it and use it as a form of payment. So from COINPAYMENTS standpoint, I see it as an enabler and as a positive in the industry.
Oh, 100%. Let's not forget, the speculation doesn't create anything. When people buy Apple stock and Apple stock goes up, well, at the end of the day, it's not because Apple stock went up. It's because you invest in this company. This company took your money. Well, if it's the IPO or actually using its stock maybe to take loans and whatever, or buy other companies, and they actually doing well. So that means they're making better products, right? So this is like everybody needs to know their own place in a history and also in the product creation and the value they create. Like, I'm a speculator. I don't do anything. I don't create anything. Like if we talk 1999, when the NASDAQ was going up, we didn't have a NASDAQ CEO exchange saying, giving opinions to Bloomberg TV about where the market goes. That's like a nonsense. Like this guy, what is this guy just makes an exchange, and Amazon and Apple and all of those guys went there, raised capital, people invested in them, and then they made whatever they made, and they became public and it became, huge companies, and some of them died because they were not good enough, right? So today we have, who is me? Who is this guy from Binance? Who is this guy from FTX? They're nobodies. They just created a platform. I mean, I want to hear, those who run DOT, Cardano, Ethereum, Link, Tether. I want to hear those guys. They're the leaders. They're the ones who, they need the money. They need that um, public trust and
they're
public
the innovators.
and public
They're the
liquidity,
innovators.
right? So what I'm saying is that, the crypto, I don't think crypto and blockchain and cryptocurrencies were invented for people to make money. And I always think that the speculation that goes around crypto is not a good thing long term. But the PayPal has nothing to do with speculation. PayPal is actually for creating value. It's like you have to, the product has to, the Ethereum blockchain, the Cardano blockchain doesn't exist for itself, for trading within trading. So like it exists for making some products that will create some efficiency, that will optimize things, and therefore it will be some ROI. I don't know if people even remember what it is, which is mean return of investments. It means they will make things more efficient, right? Speculation doesn't make things more efficient, unfortunately. And it doesn't. It actually can cause a lot of damage, as we already know, right?
Yeah.
So that speculation creates this volatility, and then maybe Bitcoin cannot be like really accepted as a universal payment because it's so volatile. I don't know. I'm not like getting into this, but what I'm saying is that PayPal is a good example of fundamental change, and it's great.
I'm interested to get your opinion on NFTs, because I find NFTs is like a bit of all of those areas, a little bit of speculation, a little bit of ownership, a little bit of crypto, a little bit of innovation, just like a whole bunch of different areas. Like, I don't know if you guys support any NFT purchasers or not, but what's your opinion on it?
This is what I think. If we move to a world where everything is virtual, I guess this is going to be my own, I think it has anything to do with trading or what I do. So if there's some kind of a man-machine interface, and we get into some virtual sort of virtual reality, and like our own simulation, where we spend, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 hours a day. It could be for school purposes, it could be for education purposes, it could be for entertainment purposes, enjoyment purposes, or like anti-depression tool, whatever it is. Some people cannot afford in reality, the house. They just have to go in some virtual house, and there's some interface to their brain, and it can just, create some kind of a reality where they will feel certain things. Okay, yeah, NFTs will cost fortune. But right now we're in analog world, trying to be in digital. I frankly don't see, like, I always ask myself, you ask me what I buy, like a stocks, investments, I always ask myself, will I use it? I like Nike. It's a great company. I'll buy Nike shoes. There's so many companies like that. So like, would I buy, like, I love Kobe Bryant. I'm his biggest fan. And I like basketball. My wife gave me like unbelievable poster of Michael Jordan as a present just a couple of months ago. I know it's a couple of $1,000. She says like, it's going to be like 10 times more. That's not NFT. It's a sign by Michael Jordan. So I get it. Like, I get that picture of his, and he actually signed it. So I understand it's all kind of non-tangible, but this signature is tangible. Why a picture of Kobe Bryant doing a dunk, like a sort of image that belongs to me, but everybody can use it, everybody can see it. It's not better. Like, I invite my friends, I say, hey, look, here's a Kobe Bryant for real, signed it. If it would be a copy of it, it could cost nothing. But he signed it, he touched it. Oh, wow. Like, I don't know, whatever, people like it. But what about NFT, that particular NFT image of Kobe Bryant dunking that I can also download to my computer? Like, now, if there'll be some protocols and nobody will be able to download it and all need to see it, I don't, but it's not like that, right?
Yeah, I think the global market. I have as you know, I have a son who's 13, and his whole world, I mean, half of his world anyways, is definitely sort of the metaverse world. Is digital, it's playing video games, it spends so much time in that world where he's collecting cars and he's collecting this and he's collecting this stuff. I think in a generational space, 30 years from today, I think there's probably lots of changes that you and I may not necessarily relate to yet, but I definitely see lots of opportunity in this space. Speculation, I don't know about, but before I let you go, I want to ask you a question. You came up with a tag for your users, Quantfurians.
Yeah.
Was that your idea?
Well, I mean, all of this, it's not just a tag. It's a religion to the degree. I mean, I'm a religious man myself, so I believe in in a good and a bad and a creation force, so to speak. I don't want to offend anybody, so it's not like specifically. And Quantfury and Quantfurism and Quantfurians, they stand for something, and it goes from our user, and that's to us. The financial aspect was always secondary. First thing is those values that we stand for. Honesty, decency, dignity, accountability, responsibility, doing good, fixing things to the degree, right? So intelligence, like in our today world, intelligent people, sometimes they're being ridiculed. And yeah, so the Quantfurians, the true Quantfurians, the real Quantfurians, and they exist. You can go on Twitter and say, I'm Quantfurian. There are people saying that. They know that, they sense that, and hopefully they sense that in everything we do in our product, because that's the frequency that we're trying to broadcast. Like when we do something, we're not necessarily going forward like, oh my God, let's just do this. We're going backward and thinking, like, is it what we are, right? And it's working so far. I think it could work better, but
Well, I appreciate
Quantfurians will prevail in the end, I think.
I appreciate that, Lev. I one of the reasons that definitely I really respect you is those core values, and all the times that I've known you, spoke to you, you're always consistent in that. So it's awesome that you're sharing that with the rest of your users and participants.
Yes, and we need to say a couple of good words about coin payments as well. You see, you don't have to pay. Why would you put that book on coin payments behind it? So just kind of subconsciously,
Oh, yeah, is this one?
Yeah, just program me. But so many times, I come to you and I say, look, listen, what's going on? Why there's no second coin payment in the world? I mean, so everybody's kind of like, why wouldn't they do it? But it's a unique company. But that just shows to so many people are talking and speaking, and then there's some people working, and in today's world, sadly, we don't see necessary results of the hard workers, wherever they are, firefighters or farmers or doctors, being really valued. It's like those who scream and being famous, like the fame, right? And not necessarily for fundamental values, the coin payments. It's not because I'm here. But coin payments has fundamental values. Nobody can replace the entire world as of now.
Yeah.
Or maybe we're trying to get somebody just to have just in case, who knows what's happens. And we can't. And I'm asking why, and nobody really cares. So I don't know. It's hard to say coin paymenters, but we are coin paymenters, and we like it.
Thanks, Lev. I as usual, we can talk for hours. I really appreciate all the time that we share together. So thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
You're welcome, and be safe, and I wish you all the best. We'll
right.
touch base.
Take care, Lev. Thanks, Lev. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody, that's a wrap. Thank you for joining the Off the Ledger podcast today. Remember to listen to the newest podcast wherever you regularly listen to podcasts. Thank you very much. Have a great day.